Identity politics really highlight the absolute evil of apartheid. So in South Africa, we didn't only have division between people of color and white people. The government also made sure that there was division within people of color. So not only do we have division, for instance, between black people and brown people, we also have division in and amongst black people, division in and amongst people of color or brown people, right? So the conversation is very rife on social media at the moment. And it is good for a number of reasons, and I want to point that out so that the rest of my message doesn't get misunderstood. It is a conversation that is absolutely needed. When you've had so many years of division, it would be foolish to think that you could build any kind of democracy without those hundreds of years of division being spoken about in some or other way. I also think that it must happen at a community level. I'm over researchers and academics speaking about things in panel discussions that we as community have to listen to, right? So it has to happen at community level. I know it is connected to economic inequality. I know that it is very much connected and part of the land distribution, redistribution conversation. So obviously it is a hot topic and there's a lot of attention around it. Now, social media platforms provide us with very large audiences to have these conversations. So that's the part that I find helpful and that I can support. But there is also a lot of problem with it. There is tremendous challenge. And I want to speak about that for a moment. So first of all, we know that these conversations, or we need to know that these conversations are rooted in intergenerational trauma. This is extreme trauma because it is not a single event that happened, like for instance, a car accident or being trapped in a building that's burning and then safely making it out and recovering in hospital. It's not that kind of a trauma. This is trauma that goes to the root of who we are, to our being, because it is connected to identity. It is connected to belonging. If you remove somebody's sense of identity and belonging, you can destroy them completely. You can destroy generations after them, as we are seeing, as it's played out right now. It's connected to self-worth, and we have to remember that there was tremendous oppression, violent and vile oppression. And that oppression also involved tremendous humiliation on top of a sense of having lost one sense of identity and belonging. I think it was Mariki de Klerk who referred to brown people as nie mens, not human, right? They were like a subspecies or something, missing link, Australopithecus. So that's the level of the trauma we're speaking about. Now, if we want to speak about these kinds of things, there are certain things that we need in place. And one of those things is compassion. If we do not have compassion for each other, all of us for all of the other, where we see one another as human with stories of hurt and pain, no matter what our color, no matter from whom we apparently know we are descended, because I'm hearing a lot of conversations about pure this and pure that, and I'm thinking, oof, okay. We also need it to absolutely be a safe environment. And I'm going to talk now about why it's not a safe environment. And then very importantly, I'm just mentioning 3, there are a lot, but we need it to be contained. We call it a container, a holding space in which this kind of conversation can be held. What I have been seeing, and I don't spend a lot of time on TikTok, but I've attended 1 or 2 lives, one last night, which ended very, very, very horribly. to the point that I actually had to leave the live because it was just becoming very, very horrible. So what I am seeing is a tremendous amount of aggression. So somebody speaks in a live or somebody has a video up, and then you start seeing the aggression. Now, this is aggression between people of color, right? Whether they are black, whether they are brown, whether they identify as original peoples, indigenous peoples, that's not my discussion on my platform. This is about trauma and understanding how we need to approach matters of such immense trauma. The second thing that I see is attacking. Now, I'm going to say that the way that I look, everything about the way that I look right now, my hair, my skin color, the way that I pronounce my words in English, that already poses me at risk for abuse. It poses me at risk for being attacked by black people and by people of color. I get a lot of hate from people of color because of the way, brown people, because of the way that I look. I'm not a proper colored, is what I've been told. Okay, fortunately, I know that all of that was engineered a long, long time ago. So, yeah, the people that say those kinds of things are the people that say those kinds of things. I'm not about to get into that conversation because it will be senseless, right? But the amount of blaming and judging that one sees also on this, what all of that does is it makes the situation worse. So when I look at the kinds of comments that I see on these platforms, one really has to question the intention. Some people, it is obvious to me because they make the same comments over and over again, like they're just wanting to throw some fumes on the flame, petrol on the flame, create more fumes. That type of thing, we need to, if we want a healthy environment to discuss trauma, we must be very clear on our intention. Now, with the likes of whoever approaching a live, approaching the comment section, you're going to get people who have improper intentions to hurt, intentions to harm, intentions to sow division, also in the space, and then it doesn't become a healthy container. So I want to end by saying that we need to, yes, have the conversation, but we need to also think about sometimes we may be doing more harm than good. This is not a judgment on anybody who is doing it. It is Mental Health Month, and it is a time and a space for us to maybe educate about these kinds of things so that we can find more helpful spaces. We want to celebrate freedom of expression. We've seen in countries around the world where freedom of expression is not allowed, how devastating that is. But when we have won the right, and for us it didn't come easy, when we've won the right to freedom of expression, we need to really honor the blood on which it was won. And we honor it by considering our intention when we are in these kinds of spaces. We honor it by showing up with compassion. We honor it by using it for healing. And we honor it by creating safe spaces. And when spaces become violent and perpetuating the very divide and rule, highly complicated, complex system of divide and rule in South Africa, then we need to think carefully about the way that we approach it so that we keep people safe, so that we keep ourselves safe, so that we keep this discussion helpful and not make it part of the problem. I hope that the message lands from my good intention and my hope for compassion as we try to rediscover our identity and belonging in South Africa.